And we'll move on. Number 5, discussions with the town board and plan commission, possible action by the plan commission on the rezoning petition for the Walgreens. Roger?
Sure. You've heard public input this evening in accordance with the requirements of public hearing. This is an application by MRED Cummings Commercial Development Corporation to modify or to rezone 5 independent parcels listed on the agenda from R2 Single Family Residence District to B2 Local Business District. I'll reiterate my previous statements in that the petition is fully compliant with Town Code 13222. It's accurate and complete. It is the proposed rezoning is in conformance with the comprehensive plan that was modified in 2009. The petitioner is coming before you in good faith. They were asked to come back after there was a determination by the county in regards to the bypass route. As we understand it today, that determination has eliminated the Sunset and Genesee Road route. Therefore, the petitioner is back before you to ask for your consideration to rezone. My recommendation to you is the Plan Commission should make a recommendation to the town board for approval, contingent upon site plan, and obviously there needs to be a CSM to consolidate all of these parcels. With that, I have nothing else to add, sir.
Mr. Chairman, I guess my comments on this, a couple of the speakers who were up earlier during the public hearing indicated that this matter was previously before the Plan Commission and the Town Board in April of 2012, before the former Town Board. If memory serves me correctly, and I think the record would reflect, I was the only member of the Town Board who supported the rezoning request at that time, some 13 months ago. I accept Planner Dupler's recommendation that we should move forward with the rezoning, so I intend to support the rezoning request again tonight when it comes up for a vote. And my reasons are quite simple. This land needs to be developed in accordance with our master land use plan in the town and not in the city of Waukesha. The business or businesses which will locate on this land need to thrive in the town and not in the city of Waukesha. And the owner or owners of this land need to pay taxes to the town and not the city of Waukesha. It's simple for me. I'll vote for it.
Mr. Chairman, I voted for it first time around, and it's just common sense. I mean, Sunset Drive is no longer a little country road. I can see that a 4-lane road clear out to Wales at some time in a not too distant future if it keeps developing. And I think the next big building push will be west, where this location is. And I live out there, I drive on it every day, and you can see the traffic coming from the west side of Merrill Hills Road for miles and miles. So I think it's just common sense that the use of this property would never gain any value if it wasn't used for some sort of business. It's a natural use for it. In fact, I can see the day, and I hope I don't get everybody mad at me, but that Sunset Drive with the grade separations that are going to take place there when they do improve that road, the south side of the road of the residential zoning, there will have issues there. Because if they have a 220-foot right-of-way, 4-lane road there, which if you look east on Sunset Drive, it's a pretty safe bet's going to happen sometime in the future. And I just think that we shouldn't fight this. It's going to be a good thing for the township. So I'm in favor of it.
It's been well spoken that I've been critical
of this development, not necessarily because of the development, but because of the issues surrounding the bypass. This morning, one of the neighbors placed on our mailboxes information, which was the second time I had heard that the bypass was settled business, that the routes were selected. And I talked with today Douglas Kane, who is the state project manager of this roadway. He has provided me in writing a statement that says that the route has not been selected. There is a difference between what the county did in their vote saying that they have a preferred route, which is what the county prefers, and what the state, the Federal Highway Authority, approve as the selected route. In writing, he says that they will not have this selected route for certain within the next 60 days. They alluded to problems that they see with the environmental piece. They are concerned about the route that the county chose. The Army Corps of Engineers recommended and required that the bypass team develop a route outside of the Conservancy, and that developed the far west route. The county, during their hearing, approved a resolution that the date on the resolution was in excess of a year old. The date was so old that the far west route was not a route in consideration at the time because the Army Corps had not instructed them to come up with that option. So hearing from, I'd be happy to provide the email that Douglas provided to me, where he states that the selected route is at least 60 days away, and it is their sole determination, as has been explained to me by Allison Bussler and Gary Evans, that this is largely out of the county's hands at this point. They're responding to questions that are being asked, but it's a decision that will come down from them. There could be, and they are submitting other data. They just had some well sampling along that Pebble Creek area that they submitted, and they're responding to some of the concerns about that route, again, with regard to some of the pollution and some of those issues. So when the Plan Commission made the motion to table, it was largely based on, or to deny, it was largely based on the fact that this was not settled business. And it's very close. I'd be lying if I thought they weren't gonna go into Pebble Creek. But I don't think we should change the chessboard at this point in time while those entities are working on the current chess game, and Sunset is still an option that they are evaluating. It was one of the 3 options that was submitted. And I would tell you that although we've heard about the access issue, that the DOT has no issue with it, there is a map inside of the clerk's office right now that will show you that if the bypass goes down Sunset, there are 2 very long arrows that, next to those arrows, say no access. And they run from the corner of Sunset to the opening where Fox Run Mall is. This map shows that they intend to open the subdivision so that it would be a pass-through from where you enter Fox Run Mall now on Sunset, straight across, and the arrow goes from that road opening all the way to the corner and says no access. And that was a map that was generated by the county and hung on the walls here for a long time. I don't know where it has gone, but I remember seeing it in the clerk's office once before. So I would have concerns about, is that map real? And I mean, the county drew it, it says no access, and changing the chessboard at this point in time when they are, is it 90 days away from making that decision?
I don't know, that's been a marker that's moved over the last 2 years, time and time and time again. So that's the information that I have from my dig up today.
Joe,
So, a quick question, you don't have this map any longer?
It's in the clerk's office. There's a stack of.
Okay. I did speak with Gary Evans, and he said regardless of which route was chosen for the bypass, that the new Walgreens and Aldi's development would comply with any of the routes chosen, and that there would be no conflict with that whatsoever.
In fact, Gary Evans put that in letter form over a year ago. And you have or had a copy of that letter that said even if the bypass were to go that route, all of their site plans and their access to it were developed with the premise in mind that the bypass might go that route. And Gary Evans basically said this development, as proposed, would have no impact on it whatsoever. The only thing other than that I will tell you, for the past 2 years, and I have been with former Chairwoman Van Sock sitting in on the monthly meetings of the West Waukesha Bypass Planning Committee. I attended the meeting of that group last week, the monthly meeting, notwithstanding your conversations with Doug Kane, who was present at that meeting. If you're here to represent to everybody that the Sunset to X bypass route is alive and well, I think you are quite mistaken. Not a single voting member of the Waukesha County Board, City of Waukesha Common Council, the City of Pewaukee who weighed in, and not a single member of the 5-member former town board of this town of Waukesha voted for the Sunset to X alternative. And they look at community involvement. You can take, I believe, City of Waukesha is 5 people. You can do the math with me. County board, I think, had 22 people or something on it. Somebody could help us. 5 and 22 is about 27. 15 in the City of Waukesha is 42, and 5 who sit at this table, 47 people. And there wasn't a single vote out of 47 people that voted for the Sunset to X alternative. If you think that that is still alive, I've got a bridge for sale.
To that point, Brent, not a single member of the 5-person town board, not a single member of the 5-person town board you're a member of, voted in favor of the Pebble Creek routes either.
I understand.
So, but this isn't about the bypass, it's about the development in this corner. And in the previous plan commission, that was the concern, was about changing the chessboard. And I think that that situation, unfortunately, still is in play.
Then let me ask you a really, really simple, really direct question, putting all of that in place. Is that your sole concern, objection, hang up, whatever you want to call it, that piece of the chessboard, if and when, and you won't accept that that's settled business at this point in time, and I'll allow you that, but if and when it is settled business that Sunset to X or Sunset to Genesee is no longer an option under consideration, I say that's the fact at this point in time. We can disagree. If and when that is no longer an option at all, are you in favor of the rezoning request? Real simple, yes or no?
The last time, and I'm not hedging, the last time this panel reviewed this issue, there was a non-annexation agreement that was put in place. We can discuss the merits of that non-annexation and some of the limitations that I think it had. But as we heard tonight from this development's supporters, their wish is to make sure that the property is developed in the town and stays in the town and pays taxes in the town, as Mr. Fisher supported. So in answer to your question, and I hear Mr. Lake has no issue or concern with leaving the town. Ms. Glade has concerns about representations that have been made verbally that she'd like in writing. I think that's probably, other than looking at site plans and things like that, if we're just talking about a straight rezone, I think those are my top 3 issues here.
I voted no on this last issue in regards to mainly the neighbors from that subdivision. In regards to most of the comments that the neighbors gave us last time were mostly opposed, if I recall, of the Walgreens and Aldi's going to that location. And now Ms. Lufter has spoke tonight. I'm not sure that she spoke to the whole subdivision summit like you have, or kind of represented them. Is that incorrect?
I notified everybody of my feelings
Okay.
and notified them way back when. I do believe the town was supposed to notify everybody in that subdivision of these meetings. I do not think it happened this time.
No.
But I did get at least 80% of the homeowners in the subdivision. So they are notified. I mean, they didn't get a lot of notification, but if they were angry enough, I'm sure they would have been here.
Thank you. So my objection was last time was that you can picture this, that a lot of these people these 5 people that be selling their lands to, and the people that would be adjoining to that property, to Walgreens, Aldi, wouldn't have neighbors, they'd have a business in their backyard. And I felt for those people now that they would have a 24/7 parking lot in their backyard versus having a neighbor. And that hit my heart saying, I bought that property with neighbors and now have a business in my backyard, okay? So, and I understand that business section, that road is gonna be high traffic, gonna get worse, as Bob said. I totally agree with that. So it's a hard decision for me to make of what we need to do here. I just felt that for these residents, like in that area, that it got rezoned and everything, and I was hoping that, at one time the master use plan was changed, and if we could rezone that whole neighborhood to this business district, that'd be a good thing, but that's where I stand for tonight.
Originally, we had some concerns for the fire department of access. I felt that this was a lot of stuff squeezed in a small area, and it is. But it's not much different than what we have at Sunset and Prairie Avenue. Actually, it's very similar. The officers have sat down, we've looked at a pre-plan for this site if this was to be built. It's manageable from the fire department standpoint. I think we've come up with a successful pre-plan that will work well. It's also a sprinkler site, which is a huge asset to the fire department, having a sprinkler system there. I still do have some concerns that I raised before with the grade changes that are taking place. I'm not happy with the grade changes. I think they're very steep. I don't know if landscaping is even going to survive well, especially on the western slope. It's an extremely huge grade change. And on the southern one, raising the property to the north of the neighbor to the south, he's going to be definitely downstream. He's not going to be at grade anymore. He's going to be looking at an embankment. So, those grade changes concern me a little bit. I take from the response from the neighborhood this time that far more people are not opposed to it or more into this, as appeared at the last meeting. We have very few people that actually spoke tonight, which kind of disappointed me. I hope we will hear from more folks tonight. By not hearing from them, and the folks that I did hear from, folks that I've seen, it seems folks are more akin to having this development there for some of the same reasons that Ms. Luther spoke of, that you'd rather see a Walgreens there than a gas station or something else. I'm not opposed to the rezoning. I think the site plan still needs some attention. I don't know how to improve the site plan yet, but I'm in support of the zoning.
Can I just respond quickly to Chief Coles? And I think fairly stated issues and concerns about the property line to the west and to the south. And I appreciate Janet Glade sharing her issues and concerns. I don't believe it's the proper prerogative of the Plan Commission or the board here to even move forward with this to include any of those kinds of conditions. I mean, that's an arrangement between those people, but I think those voices need to be heard. I mean, if this were to move ahead and get a positive vote tonight, site plan on that is a separate review. I mean, it would have to be certified survey map, site plan review and everything, so that's for another day. And in that regard, Chief Buchholz, I mean, I share with you, and I think Roger confirms with that, those are issues, I think they're resolvable, but I think they merit our close scrutiny and attention for the impact that they would have on trained neighbors. And I think we've got some homework to do there, so I'm on board with you in that regard.
And Ellen and Dan, I think last time when this issue was before us, I'm certain of it, like the entire neighborhood received official notice from the town. And we can speak to whether, from the developer's point of view, that would have been a mistake, because we should have only invited the people within the 300 feet, and that's what's happened this time. Chris certainly did put out things on our mailbox this morning as I left. For work, it was there. Is the absence of people here representative of their opinion? I would not assume that that is a direct relationship. Has the temperament toned down? Perhaps some people have said, hey, how many times do I have to tell you? But ultimately, I come back to my issues are not necessarily related to that, but I think that's something wrong.
Anybody else?
Yeah. I guess I would have to go along with that without knowing how that neighborhood is reacting to this. I would not be able to vote for it. I know if I lived in there and they built, I wasn't happy with the subdivision behind me, but I'm putting up with it. But I definitely wouldn't be happy if a commercial property plopped up behind my house. So unless we can somehow get a census of what that neighborhood is standing for, I'm not going to be able to go for the rezoning.
Unfortunately, public comments have been closed. You can speak before the town board, though. Anybody else before we vote? No. Well, is there a motion on the floor? Sorry.
I move that we change the zoning subject to all of our conditions.
Is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?